Jumpin In on Manx Radio.
With Howard and Chris Kane.
Hello.
Good evening.
And welcome. And hello once again, welcome to Jumpin' In here on Manx Radio on a Saturday night, the best in modern and contemporary jazz. As all you regulars know, with myself H.
And me, Chris. Yes, welcome along to this week's show as we begin to get a spring in our step with the snowdrops giving way to daffs and crocus. Yes, I saw some in the hedgerows. And half terms upon us. How is that possible? It only seems like yesterday when the kids went back. Hey-ho. So, H, are you bringing upbeat holiday tunes or downbeat work songs this week?
We are going to hear a new chapter, or unheard chapter, in the history of drum icon Elvin Jones, just out on Blue Note. Some good stuff. We're going to New Zealand with the Crib, another drummer, Mark Lockett. Wonderful stuff. And I got a birthday boy.
Oh, great. And for me, well, we hit a quarter century. We're almost a birthday, I suppose. We look forward to skywards. We are deep, we're not even, but we start taking the wheel and look out, there's a curve in the road. Here we are with the Dave Slonaker Big Band. terrific sound and indeed a terrific band. A great driving start to the show there from the Dave Slonaker Big Band from their 2022 release, Convergency and A Curve in the Road. Those of you keen enough to listen to H and I warbling on as well as the music will know that I played a track from the band's debut, Intrada, which came out back in 2014 at the beginning of the year. And now, some 8 years on, that's their second album, still with Bob Shepherd and sax and Dave's rhythm section of pianist Ed Shack, bassist Edwin Livingstone and Peter Erskine on the drums, all carried over from the first band. Be nice to catch them live. Let's hope they go on the road and we can get to some festivals this year.
Yeah, amen to that. From one great drummer, Peter Erskine, to another, Elvin Jones, best known by a country mile, I'm sure, for most people, for his tenure with the John Coltrane Quartet, when his polyrhythmic style sort of grabbed the world and just fitted perfectly into Coltrane's musical landscape. And after that, I was going to say he never looked back. He did briefly, because actually after he left Coltrane, when Coltrane was adding Rashid Ali and other drummers, and frankly, Elvin wasn't having any of this at all particularly, he left and he struggled for a while to sort of get much work. But work he had to, like all musicians did, and so he took whatever he could get, including sets at Pookie's Pub in New York City, not a well-known venue, I would hazard, to most of you, unlike the Village Vanguard and places he'd been playing in the massive concert venues around the world for the previous 3 or 4 years. But no, this was virtually in his fairly run-down neighbourhood, but it had a jazz thing going on. It paid a bit of money, so presumably it paid the bills, and he played there, and they were recorded there. It's just been released by Blue Note, and it sounds very nice indeed. Revival. It was revival of his career, as it were, live at Pookie's Pub. Let's hear them on the classic Gingerbread Boy. Great stuff. Gingerbread Boy, the Jimmy Heath tune, given a great work out there by the great Elvin Jones with his band at the time when he was after Coltrane. In fact, it was just after Coltrane had died. Elvin on drums, Joe Farrell, who he went on, of course, to form his trio with on tenor sax. On that one track, normally he had Billy Green playing piano. On that one track, Larry Young was stepping on piano, better known for his organ work, of course, and Wilbur Little on the bass. And like I said, Pookie's Pub in 1967. It's a double CD set being released by Blue Note. It's all been unearthed by the great Zev Feldman, who just seems to keep unearthing these hidden gems which have been buried for ages. A lot of work, it says, to get the tapes up to that sort of quality. Even so, the piano's still sounding a little bit angry, isn't it? And a great line, a book of notes as well, and various essays from people, which is a great read. Even in the book itself, it says Pookie's Pub barely rose above the lowest rung as its time as part of the Manhattan jazz scene, lasting for little more than a year. And in fact, very few other people really played there. As a few people said, the only person I ever knew played there was Elvin, pretty much. It's claim to fame could well be that later on, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd dubbed it the Blues Bar and made it their home for post-broadcast parties for Saturday Night Live cast and band members, and the parties apparently went well on into Sunday mornings. A lovely little piece as well from Elvin's children, who are still alive, Alvin Queen, Rose Marie Jones and Elvin Nathan Jones, who are spread around the globe, and that one of them is a musician and teacher in Sweden. That's Rosie. And then you have Alvin, who is another drummer, but he's now based in Switzerland. And Elvin Nathan has stayed stateside and is a teacher and Africanist dance researcher in Seattle, Washington, holding the flame. And they said they're delighted to hear their dad's music. Check it out on Blue Note. Great stuff.
Very good indeed. And don't forget that never have one ending to a tune when 15 or 16 will suffice.
Oh, you've got to do it.
I think the pub piano sounded perfectly fine for pub piano in Pookie's Pub. But next from me, not so much a birthday as an anniversary. Multiple Grammy award-winning Odd Job, who I've liked since the start, are celebrating 25 years together. Where did that time go? With brand new music and a tour in 22 going on into 23. Their new album is simply called 25. Here's Bam Bom. Odd Job with Bam Bomb sounding as fresh as ever. They were one of the very first Swedish bands I discovered, I think, and are constantly going in different directions in jazz, and they're never afraid to try new styles either, with their own compositions and interpretations of everything from Weather Report, which not many people are brave enough to take on, to Clint Eastwood film scores, and not least their playfulness is noticeable when they did 2 or 3 albums, I think, of their children's project, Jazz Zoo, where they take the zoo occupants as their inspiration, a sort of jazz carnival of the animals, I suppose, which won them the prestigious Grand Prix du Disque in France. All well established on the Swedish scene, they are Gorin Kajfes, I'm never sure how to say his name, on trumpet, Per Rustrak Johansson on sax and bass clarinet, Peter Force covering all the bass duties, including keyboard bass as well as upright and electric. Daniel Carlson on piano, organ, synth and percussion. And Lars Skoglund on drums and percussion. And indeed, every one of them have fine solo recording projects to explore as well.
Terrific stuff. You are indeed listening to Jumpin In, the best in modern and contemporary jazz here on Manx Radio. Every Saturday night, of course, at 9 o'clock. And if you can't catch it live, then just go to the Manx Radio website and you can listen to the podcast or subscribe, and of course, you will automatically be notified and never miss another session. Wonderful stuff. We've got some more specials coming up for you. We'll be working on a few. We keep stockpiling these interviews and then have so much good music coming through. We never seem to get round to playing some of them. However, we will definitely be doing in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will definitely be hearing an extended interview. So it'll probably be a whole special we did with Steve Tibbetts after he brought out a 2-CD retrospective of his work, and we've been a great fan of Bye Bye Safe Journey and some of his other earlier work on ECM. Wonderful stuff, and a lovely chap, a great guy to talk to as well. So we hopefully will have that for you in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And we also have the likes of the Bad Plus we were talking to down at London Jazz Festival last year, and as we were talking only the other week, Ralph Towner, who we spoke to the previous year, a long interview with him, although it shot off in all sorts of different directions. So we'll try and cull something from that as well. In the meantime, a birthday boy. It's all about the drummers for me tonight. I know I'm a drummer, so I'm biased, but I just happen to look, I quite often say, any big birthdays today, and one, perhaps not big for some, but one of my favourite drummers from back in the day in the 60s with the likes of Art Pepper, Frank Butler, had a wonderful touch, really fluid. Listen to him here on a great track, Tears Inside with Art Pepper, how fluidly he swaps from brushes to sticks and back again a couple of times, and is bang on the money throughout. Art Pepper, Tears Inside, Frank Butler on the drums. Not with us anymore, but happy birthday. great stuff. Tears Inside, the Ornette Coleman track, given a cracking work out there by the Art Pepper Quintet back in the 50s, 60s, somewhere around about there, was it? Wonderful stuff, great swinging notes, and celebrating 1960, there we go, that was right in between. Celebrating the great jazz drummer Frank Butler, born in Kansas, honed some really good tight chops, as you heard, really bang on the money and really smooth. That's transition between brushes, sticks back to brushes again. Wonderful, doesn't miss a beat, and just keeps it absolutely reined in all the way through. And played with, I don't know, who didn't he play with? Harold Land and Ben Webster, and I think he played with Miles Davis on stage as well. In that particular case, Art Pepper on alto, Jack Sheldon trumpet, Pete Jolly piano, Jimmy Bond bass, and Frank Butler at the drums. Wonderful.
Plenty of Art Pepper out there too, including a lot of stuff being released by his daughter from late archives, and sort of the odd free track coming here and there, quite often extended live sessions or air shots. And if you're a drummer, just, stick to it, unless you have to brush up afterwards. Next, a band born out of a need to find kindred spirits, so they say. Here's the Ostara Project with Delta Sky. Named after Ostara, the Germanic goddess of spring equinox. That was the Ostara project with Delta Sky. The group is the brainchild of the co-leaders Amanda Tosov and Judy Prutznik and is an all-female band. Jodie, who's on the bass, was pregnant with her first child and it struck her it was not something that male members of bands had to contend with, and also how she was pretty much the only woman who was in the band in most of the units she played with, so she started to look for a better representation of women in jazz and assembled 7 of Canada's best female players for the project. Alison Owen on alto, Jason Gould on guitar, Joanna Makojo on vocals, Rachel Terrien, who we've featured before, on the trumpet, and she's got a new album out too, and Sana Kudura on drums, with Jodie and Amanda on bass and drums respectively. And the new album is out now on the Cellar Live label.
This is a new one from New Zealand drummer Mark Lockett. It just came out this month, February 23. It's called Swings and Roundabouts. This track is called The Crib. Great stuff, been enjoying that one very much today, I must admit. Mark Lockett, New Zealand drummer, there's new album recorded in New York, Swings and Roundabouts, with a cracking lineup. You've got Matt Penman, David Binney and Dwayne Eubanks playing on that track. 9 original compositions, all I think... all featuring all that band and all written by Mark himself. He says, I feel a connection with the scene. There's a great energy that comes with just being there. That's in New York, which I hope is reflected in this music. The album is out now and, just a week or two back in February, and it is definitely worth having a listen to. You can also get it streaming or download via Thick Records. That's thick, yeah, I know, thickrecords.co.nz.
Nothing wrong with being a bit thick, and that certainly proves the point. No, very, very fine album indeed. Well, that's just about it for this week's show, but we have got time to fit in an early favourite group of mine, the Moutin Brothers. Francis on bass and drummer Louis formed the Moutin Factory Quintet back in 2013. Rarely does a single-letter word so eloquently and accurately capture the spirit of the album as does their 2017 release, Deep. They are Francois Moutin on acoustic bass, Louis Moutin on drums, Jean-Michel Pilk on the piano, Manu Kudaya on guitar, Christophe Monnois on alto and soprano sax, and Thierry Piels and Axel Rouret on vocals on this track. We'll leave you with Love Stream, which, come to think of it, we could have fitted into last week's show, but there we go. Take care. We'll see you in another 7 days.
We will. Moutin or Moutin?
Moutin?
Take your pick.
You say Moutin, I say Moutin.
Be good.
Take care.